I'm here with Tracy, and before I let her speak, she can smack me at any time. She will too. We volunteered with each other together at the Van Build Fest. And originally, Tracy, and you probably saw this in the other video, I had actually in the previous video, I had talked about Tracy for probably 2 minutes solid, and I had to cut it. I just had to cut it all down. There's too much. There's a couple of things that I wanted to do after I introduced her. One is that I just sort of wanted to drive the idea home to people that people do this for all different kinds of reasons. They have different biographies. But the other thing I wanted to touch on is that if you saw my van build video, you know that I put 2 years into my rig trying to make sure that it's perfect. And if my rig's right there, of course hers is right here, if we put them side by side and we had you vote on which one was the most homey, the most welcoming, I would lose, she would win, hands down, and she took a fraction of the time with this much money to do it. So I'm rather disgusted. Welcome, Tracy.
Thank you. Nice to be here with that intro.
I know. Look, so you are one of the very few seamstress / quilt renovators / crime scene cleanup people that I've ever met. You're certainly the brightest and most fun to be around.
Oh, well, thank you. I only paid him $5, but it's a value. It's a value.
Look, I think, one of the things I think we all witnessed at the van build was people are there for very different reasons,
yeah.
Right? And we all have different biographies. You're a tiny homeowner, so it's probably not a stretch that you...
Yeah, it's just a matter of degree.
Yeah. So next is going to be a clown car with you share it
well,
with like 8 other people.
I started out in a clown car. I went to the RTR this year in January in a 2-door Hyundai hatchback.
Yeah, so clown car.
So I did start in a clown car.
Yeah. So this was a great time that we had at the van build. Tracy was originally on the sewing team, right?
Yeah.
And you were the first install that we had.
Yep, I worked with Bill, and so I had all of my materials with me, and I was ready to go. I was on fire. I'm like, do it.
And you had made the grave mistake afterwards of switching teams to be on the solar team, right?
It's the best decision we made.
It was. People can say what they want to about it that weren't there. All I can say is that people were there for the right reasons, most of them.
And I was, one thing over and over again, I was astounded by how hard everybody was working.
Yeah.
For no pay, just for the joy of helping.
Yeah, people don't work that hard just for attention,
Crazy
right?
hard, no.
It was much more than socializing.
Yeah.
It really was. And I think we mentioned this on our last day, too, that we were all sort of glad to have the tough stuff over with, but then the community, the idea of us dissipating.
That's been hard.
It has been.
I'm struggling with the idea of leaving at this point.
I know.
It's difficult. It's like the end of, you don't want it to be over.
Yeah. And then there's somebody else here that you probably need to meet too. You definitely need to meet. This is Miss Hazel, Princess Hazel. She is the coolest dog ever. You say hi, honey? Say hi. So anyway, so glad we had the chance to work together. We're going to have to find a way to connect again.
We are.
But I want to show people your van too. So again, the idea here is that first of all, it's just a cool van anyway, right? But what she was able to do with how much do you figure you have into this?
I don't know. If you don't count the fridge, I kind of splurged my budget on my fridge.
Outside of solar, outside of the fridge, what do you think?
Just maybe $300, and $125 of that was a gallon of truck bed liner paint. And I didn't use the whole gallon, but you had to buy the whole gallon. So that includes that. I mean, the chest of drawers was $15 and a $5 can of spray paint and a borrowed sander. So
it's amazing. But
everything else is just stuff I had.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure as being in the profession that you're in, you recognize which colors and which themes and which patterns go together. And I think
just know what I like,
It is, well, you've got Indians, you've got like plaid things, you've got Route 66 stuff, you've got weathered, dresser here. And it all just goes together. So if you got $300, yeah, you can do it too. And I want her to come to my van and go, can you fix this mess that I created? Because I spent way too much time creating the wreck that I have. But anyway, here we go.
Here comes the moon, held by my love, to shine on you with a light that comes from above. It's not the sun, not burning bright, but it's enough to not be hit by the night. How does a tiny brilliance
Thank you for the tour. It's been brilliant. And do you have anything else planned? Is there anything else that you're going to do to this?
You know, I'd like to put in a floor, a wood floor or linoleum or something just to keep it easier to keep clean. And the access, as they accessed the inside of the turtle top to do the solar panels, found a couple of inches in there I can gain. And I can't quite stand up in here, so there's part of the ceiling I'm cutting out, and I'm going to cover it in fabric, and maybe I'll be able to finally stand up all the way.
Yeah, some of us are really interested in gaining a couple of inches.
Couple of inches.
But yeah, so is there anything that you would like to say just about, whether it's about the Van Fest or about your experience in meeting people? I find it fascinating every time I meet somebody. Their bios are always different. The narrative of their lives is always different. What brings us together is different. But the end result is the same. It doesn't seem, we can talk to each other for a week without bringing up politics, and that's a weird dynamic, as divisive as things are. What's been your experience?
And that's been mine too. This thing we have in common, which separates us from what everybody calls the sticks and bricks world, is so binding and makes such a common experience. And there's so much to share and so much to learn, and people just want to help each other.
Yeah.
It's just the overarching theme is helping each other, even outside of the events like the Van Fest. That has made these communal ties, these instant relationships that are very kind.
Yeah, they absolutely
and very
are.
revealing, and I've found it to be so enjoyable.
Why do you think that is, though? Why do you think that you can bring people together like that, all different ages, gender orientation, sexual orientation, political orientation, and everybody just seems to fit? Well,
it's about that tie of van dwelling, I think, of being a nomad. It's something inherent in your personality that you find it appealing in the first place, and that's enough to tie everybody together. I mean, some groups have more in common. Some relations are more long lasting. Some are more
and
temporary.
Some people split off in their own groups.
And some are deeper, and some are more shallow. But they all tie with that common experience of living in a van or living in a small trailer or a camper, but that nomad life. And it just ties everybody together. You're tied to your work friends at work, and the thing you have in common is work.
Yes.
And you tie to your family, and that's family, and maybe your neighbors, and that's a neighborhood. And so there's always something in common in your social life. And this is such a deep tie that I think it makes for really rich relationships.
It does, and I think that there's something to be said for, and this is really the first time I experienced it. We were at this event not too far away. We're actually in the Blue Water Casino parking lot right now. So the event is 20 minutes away, something like that. We're in Parker, Arizona, or just outside Parker. And I went in yesterday to go to get groceries and to go to the laundromat. And when I went to get groceries, I ran into other nomads. When I went to the laundromat, I ran into other nomads.
You see the wristband or the sticker on the
van.
van.
Or you start to see, you look at vans differently. You go, oh, they got a roof vent. They're a full timer. And so it's easy to start these conversations. But it's weird to be so far away from home and running into a grocery store or a laundromat and seeing people that you know. It's just, I couldn't do that in my sticks and bricks.
It's strange, and it's a carryover community. 3 months from now, you'll be in Yuma or you'll be in Flagstaff, and you'll run into somebody that you met this week.
And and then you'll just pick up that conversation and that dialogue. I've never seen a dynamic like that.
It's funny.
Ever.
It's funny. And then the YouTube connection makes a difference too. You do feel like you get to know people before you even meet them. When I ran into Deborah Dickinson, I'm like, aha!
Deborah,
and I try to remember that doesn't mean I can walk up and say, hi, I know you.
And pet her.
Hi,
Like she's in her natural habitat.
Shoulder. But it does give almost an artificial sense that you already know them a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I try not to be a big fangirl when that happens.
It's hard to, though, because you do.
I'm glad I got to know you before I knew your YouTube videos. Which I enjoy so much, but it's like the reverse of that has been a little strange, because usually it's the other way around for me.
Yeah, no, it's been kind of surreal too for me, because before I went to the van build, I had like 50 subscribers, and now I have a whopping like 160. Like there is this there's a scene from an old an old Steve Martin movie called The Jerk, and he's looking through the phone book, and he sees his name in the phone book for the first time, and he goes, "I'm somebody now." And I figured when I hit 100 subscribers, like, I am somebody. But no, so look, look, it was a pleasure meeting you.
It was great.
We've got to hang
great
out.
to work with you.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
he is that part of that team that put in my stellar electricity system, my solar system, and it just all fires up and works like it should, and it's like having a superpower, and you enabled that.
Well, I think part of that was fueled by the awesome cooking. Yeah, it was nice to be
I
able
was determined nobody was going to lose an ounce.
It was crazy. I haven't eaten that.
All these guys are on diets. I'm like, no, you're
I don't know
eating
what.
pasta.
We're gonna drive out of this parking lot and go our separate ways, and I'm just gonna whimper like a little puppy. Where's my food? When's dinner time? It was almost Pavlovian. We'd get done with the build, and we would see her van, and we'd smell something.
It was great. It made me feel great to be able to feed you. I love that. That was great.
And Miss Hazel, it's been a pleasure.
Miss Hazel started out as a little shy girl, and now she's shameless.
Yes.
Shameless.
All right, everybody. Thanks for your time. I hope you had a good time watching Tracy and I. I just can't, the camaraderie and the community just can't be understood. And
it's real. It's strangely real. People are like, oh, that's so temporary. It's just because you met these people. But no.
But it's real for the right reasons,
real.
too.
There's very
nothing,
real.
There's nothing cockeyed about this. And when people try to categorize this as, distill it down to a binary litmus test or try to categorize us in certain ways, it doesn't work. I mean, it just doesn't. There's such a diversity, but people are coming together, I think, for the right reasons.
I think so too.
So anyway, the next time I have a crime scene to clean up, or a quilt that needs to be restored, I know who to call.
Yeah. Or a wedding dress. If your wedding dress doesn't fit, I can make you look spectacular.
Yeah, that'll be our little secret. Thanks again.
Burns much brighter than the moon.
It's Hazel. It's Hazel. She's the dog of the West, and she's the best. Who's the little dog with the cute brown eyes? It's Hazel. It's Hazel. She's the dog of the West, and she's the best.
Here comes my child.